back there that are doing this. You're going to have to teach in just a minute. David, you want to come teach? He's still not listening.
That's because he made a mess. Springfield's going to be.
Thanks a lot.
You should have
You know me since I was.
Did you guys eat a bunch of sugar before you came today?
Yeah.
Y'all are wound up. Cookies. Yeah, Tracy put those cookies right on the kitchen table too, so just like every time I'm walking by, I grab another one. Melanie didn't make me cook that macaroons for that swap, but I wish you had. Those are fabulous. Did y'all have one of those? I took one on the way out the door, so there was 2 less than what I got there. You guys tell your own jokes back there.
They're much better than yours.
You know what that'll get you, Bubba? That'll get you the opportunity to teach.
Next one.
If you guys don't like my jokes. It is what it is. Yes? Now, there have been a few words that have been said up here that have never been said by any other person ever in the history of this building. But I don't care.
Like Goober?
Yeah, goober. Yeah, well, there are other things that we won't go into. Jokes that have been told that are a little off color.
EGR.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows what an EGR is. Yes, we're dealing with those right now, aren't we?
You step out of your home, you better.
Yeah. Well, even no, I won't say that. Tracy's not an EGR, but we do have family that is.
Greg, I'm not going to let you continue to talk about my sister like that.
Deborah puts up with an EGR, and we just won't point at who that is. Okay, so the last few weeks we've been covering a family with, well, there's EGRs all over the place there in their story, isn't there? There's a rash of adversity in that family. I mean, think about it, okay? Just let's start with Abraham. Can you think of the things that they went through? What did Abraham? What are some of the things that he went through? What did he? I mean, that caused adversity, or some of that? What some of that stuff? He lied. Called his wife his sister a couple of times, which is creepy, right? Some of the other things.
Didn't believe God was going to fulfill His promise.
Yeah, he kind of laughed at that.
Hagar.
Kind of laughed at that. Laughing at God, laughing with God's okay. Laughing at God, not so much. Be careful there. So Abraham, Isaac, stuff going on with Isaac, Jacob, now with the kids and stuff, you know, with Joseph and all the things that they've been going through. How would you like to live that? All the stuff they're going through. Man, it's really interesting story that we've got going on. We watched Joseph go from being this favored son with a fancy jacket to somebody that the brothers hated, you know, enough to want to kill him. Here comes that dreamer. Right? Let's kill him. Let's throw him in the pit. They hated him enough and disrespected their father enough that they were okay going home and breaking their father's heart. That was okay with them. It's okay that's the favored son. Dad loves him so much. But let's sell him into slavery. Let's get some money for it. And let's send some evidence falsified back to Dad. And let's tell him that his favored son is dead. Think of that, what that's like. They're okay with that. Think of that. You love your mom and dad. Hopefully y'all had that kind of a relationship. You know what that would be like if you did, and I'm sorry if you didn't. I did. I was blessed with that. It used to kill me. My dad never had, he did lay hands on me. Believe me, because he could. Yeah, you needed but he didn't have to most of the time. If I ever thought I was hurting my dad or breaking his heart, that was enough to stop me in my tracks. I didn't want to hurt. If I thought I disappointed, it was tough on me. Now, he didn't make me feel that way because of the bad things that he did. He made me feel that way because he proved his love over and over to me, right? So to think that I could do something to break his heart, heal him. So this, boy, you think, first of all, Joseph didn't help his own cause, did he? You know, he'd tell a dream. You guys aren't going to believe what a dream. Y'all are bowing down to me. I'm over all of it. You bow down in worship to me, right? In deference to me, you're bowing down to me. He did that a couple of times, didn't he? He told on them, ratted them out, did that too, right? So he didn't help his own cause. And it caused all this dissension within the family. So Joseph gets thrown in the pit. Slavers come by. They buy him from them and take him where? Egypt. Okay? So that's where we're going to come upon Joseph here in our story today. We're going to pick up there. God, as it says in our lesson title, God redeems adversity. He does. God can do anything, anytime that he chooses. Doesn't matter what it is. He can do it, and he can make his plan succeed, and he does. If it's his plan, he can do it. So here's the deal. You're going through adversity. So as we're going to see in the story, are you going to be like Joseph and be faithful in the pit or in the palace? Doesn't matter where you are. You're in the pit, you're in the palace, are you still faithful? Right? That's a very difficult thing to do when you're going through adversity, is to remain faithful. But that's how often God shows favor. Read his book. If you're faithful in adversity, God often shows favor to those people, right? Am I wrong in saying that? No, he often does. Does he always? No. I mean, read Hebrews, right? Read the Hall of Faith. Those people were faithful, and yet most of them didn't get to see what God's plan was going to complete and do, right? So, okay. How many of you guys, how many read your lesson?
I didn't. I had the book and I had it right beside me, and then somehow I still forgot it.
That's okay.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
You're awesome is what you're
I have a list going now of what's wrong with me.
If I didn't have to go stand up in front of you goobers, I would often be unfaithful. So it's good. I'm faithful to the word because I don't want to look incredibly stupid. And I'm really stuck on that verse of scripture that says I'm going to be judged more harshly. You get that, Dan?
Yeah.
You feel that way?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's going to be like, but anyway, I try to tell the truth often.
You'll do well.
Bless your heart.
Oh, that's sweet.
Don't you love Dan? Okay, so how many of you guys know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer is? Have y'all read about him? You read his story? Y'all help me a little bit here. He was a German lecturer, pastor, teacher, writer, very faithful to the Christian cause. Very faithful. And he was during the Nazi regime, when Hitler was over German. I mean, how else can you say that? We don't want to go too deep into Hitler, but like Judas, Hitler, I think Hitler's one of those guys that Satan set up to be the Antichrist, believing that Christ's return could be then for him to take over. Since he doesn't know, we don't know, nobody knows, and Satan doesn't know, only God knows. Well, I think that all through history, Satan's been placing people ready for that. That's merely my opinion. Doesn't say that anywhere, okay? But when I think about it, I'm thinking about all these people that have been there. So, okay, here's this guy with all this charisma. Listen, he's a weird-looking little goober with the crazy-looking mustache. I don't understand this, what that's all about. Maybe he just couldn't grow it. Huh?
It was a fashion statement at the time.
Fascist statement there. Oh. That's a dad joke right there. That's good. So I just think he's one of those guys that Satan had ready to be that person. Now, I don't know, I'll talk to the Lord about that someday, that when we get to heaven and ask. But we'll know what he knows, so maybe I won't have to ask. Anyway, too much about that. So here's Dietrich Bonhoeffer living at the same time, and he's going through all this adversity. Because listen, talking about, Christianity was not a good thing in the Nazi regime. And Hitler wanted him taken care of. So he got him arrested by the Gestapo. He put him into a camp, and then they moved him into a Nazi concentration camp, and then he was hung, killed. Very young age. He was a young guy when he was going through all that. But faithful in adversity. God often uses people for a short time that may be your deal. Remember, we'll talk about it here a little bit more, but you remember David's epitaph? What's it say about David? He served God's purpose in his time, and then he died and went to be with his fathers. Right? He says something like that, right? Well, I think I've got it here in the notes. So, as we go through adverse conditions, just for somehow, like Joseph, we have to have a mindset that we're serving God's purpose in our time, right? And be faithful in the pit, whether we're in the pit or in the palace. Easy to do, yes? No, not so much. Really difficult, right? Listen, yesterday, on what's supposed to be a day off, when I'm taking 30 phone calls and trying to fix things all day long from 7:30 in the morning until I went to our Christmas party last night at 5:30, I was working all day. And that listen, it doesn't sound that adverse, but it feels adverse when you don't get a day off. Okay, you're right? So it's hard for me. Now, it's a small pit. I need to put a small pit. Okay? No, I didn't. I didn't make extra money yesterday. It is what it is. But in adversity, it's really difficult, right? To remain faithful. Yes? And Cindy needs that when y'all get through with it up here. Yes? No, it's okay. This is very important.
It is very important.
All good. Y'all think of a name to put on there. I've got one in my head too. I'll put mine on at the end. So, how do we do that? How is Joseph, who has shown some immaturity, keep in mind, what is he, 17? 17 here. So think of you. Don't think of me that's 17, right? But I can't imagine at 17 years old, this is what I'm going through, and I'm remaining faithful to God through this. I don't know. Yes, I do. I wouldn't be. Not at 17, I wasn't. Right? So let's think about that as we go through the lesson today, as we read this and let the truth of God's word speak to us here. Let's think about what's going on with Joseph. Place yourself in Joseph's footsteps. Walk with him today as you go through this. Try to project yourself into the word today. And you're a 17-year-old youth. Doesn't have to be guy or girl. Anybody could be going through this. Think about how was he able to remain faithful like that, right? Wouldn't you want to just get a hold of somebody? Golly, I don't know, but wherever he went,